Hello everybody, and welcome to Mike's Country Lawns. I know what you're thinking. It's January 3rd, and it's 18 degrees here in southern Wisconsin, and this is a lawn care video? Well, I thought I would do it now. I thought, why not? Introduce myself and show you around a little bit. I know there's not much to see right now, but there will be in a little while, in a few weeks, probably more like a few months. But I thought I'd just show you around and show you the property. So obviously you can see the nice big birch tree, and you'll notice one of the things I deal with here is pines. The line of pines you see right there is the lot line, and there's some pines on that side. That's the lot line over there. So altogether we are on a little over half-acre lot. It's like 0.66. So my total lawn care is about, oh, I don't know, 16,000 square feet or so, maybe more than that. I have a bunch of small littler spots like you see right there. Then on the other side of the driveway it's about a 5,000 square foot section. When I measured everything, I did kind of round things up to make it just easier to measure out fertilizers and fungicides. It's just easier that way. So we are, like I said, we are in southern Wisconsin. And I guess if you draw a straight line between the state capital of Madison and Milwaukee, I can tell you we are in between that. So I like to call my front yard, I call that my show place. That's what people see, and I take care of that the most. It gets the, I guess you could say, the best care. Like I said, I do have these pines, and obviously a lot of you out there know that trees and grass, your turf grass, your lawn grass, they don't get along well unless they're getting adequate rain, which this past year in 2022 was kind of a rough year. We had decent rain early, but then by June we went long time without rain, and hot. We were very hot this last summer of 2021. Take you out here a little bit. I'm sorry if it's a little dark today. The sun has been in and out. So as you can see, we are definitely out in the country. If you hear me huffing a little bit, I'm traipsing through the snow. We did finally get some snow. Not a huge amount, but we do have snow, and like I said, now it's kind of, we're finally into winter. It's finally winter around here. It's, like I said, it's about 18 degrees. It's cold. So my bluebird house. This last year wasn't a very good year for bluebirds because down south they had such cold, and so they didn't migrate up here as much as they usually do. So some of my lawn is a little bit on a slope, as you can see here, and shady. So part of this is, even though this is some shade, it's like, you know, in the fall, more towards the fall of the year, it'll be more in the shade, just because of the way the sun comes up in the east and moves across the sky more towards fall, so it'll get more shade in the fall. In the spring and summer, it actually gets a little bit of sun, and it's not bad. You know, it's kind of tough in the sun, or I'm sorry, tough in the shade to get grass to grow really well, but it's doing pretty good here. Like I said, once again, as long as we get decent rain and the trees aren't soaking it all up and taking it all out of the ground, the grass does pretty well. I did have a bad Poa annua problem here in the shade, which I tried to fix. I got it pretty good. Hopefully in later videos I can talk more about it. But some of this here is all really good up until we get past this ash tree here. There's a little section right in here that's you can see the kind of the drain pipe off the house. There's a little section right there that's not very good. I'll admit that. It's one of my projects to try and maybe overseed it, make it better. It's just, even though that gets a little bit more sun, it's just not very good right there. So moving on down here. So the lot line is about right with that pine, maybe just a couple feet to the left of that pine is the lot line. And the neighbors, he's got a very big lot, and here's a good view of it. You know, if you can see right up the line of pines, that's our lot line. This little thing here in the lawn, maybe I'll make a video on that and explain what I did here. It's just something for the winter time. So getting down here, we have our fire pit, and like I said, I can show you that we are very much out in the country here. This pine is kind of the line at the back side, at the west side of the lot, west end. This little marker here our neighbor put up, that's kind of the line here. Basically stretches straight across. So as you can see, we are very much out in the country. It's absolutely wonderful out here. And the wonderful thing about it is, even though we're very, very much country, we're only a few minutes from town. I mean, as the crow flies, I guess you could say it's about 4 miles, 4.5 miles. So, you know, if we need to get into town for something real quick, even if the weather's bad in the winter, you know, or there's an emergency, we need to run to town, it's not far. But I will say, you know, one of the things we have here, we do have neighbors that are fairly close. Considering we're out in the country, you would expect us to be a little bit more spread apart, but we have absolutely wonderful neighbors. If my speech gets a little slurred, it's cold, so it's a little hard to talk at some points. And we have a little bit of food set out here for the birds. Me and my wife love to feed the birds. We threw out some pumpkins. We heard that the deer love pumpkins, but I don't think we've had much in the way of deer visiting. So giving you a view from the back here at the west end of our lot. So the backyard is a little sloped, not bad. It goes downhill a little bit. I mean, you know it if you're back and forth and back and forth. Walking gets a little bit tiring. So the backyard has trees. This guy right here, that's a box elder. We've got a maple right there. I believe my tree guy said it's a Norway maple. And we got a big, I think they call it a silver maple or a sugar maple here. It's basically the centerpiece of our backyard. It is absolutely a monster of a tree. We love it. It creates great shade in the summer. It is a kind of messy tree because there's a lot of, you know, you wouldn't think there'd be so many branches in the tree that are actually dead, but when we get wind like we had on December 15th, we had a very windy day. In fact, we had a high wind warning. It was a crazy day. It was like 65 degrees here. It was absolutely great outside in a t-shirt, getting things put in before the wind came, and it got very windy. And yeah, there was a lot of branches to pick up, as you can see over here by my compost pile. I got branches. I do chip up a lot of those, and when I can with my chipper. Oh, and I guess I could show you. Well, you can't see it. It's totally under. It's totally under snow. I got a little hosta bed here, hosta garden, whatever you want to call it, surrounded by some black border. This little area here, yeah, actually it's not so little. It's our garden area. We try to make the best out of what we can here as far as our garden goes. And there too, I can, in future videos, I can maybe tell you more about this little area and why it's here and not in a different place, because it used to be in a different place. As was my compost pile. And I actually got a drum composter too. It actually works very well. Works fantastic. As long as it's in the sun. Like I said, we got I use kind of this back part of this area here to put branches and whatnot. My little, it's not so little, my chipper shredder pile, which actually when you chip and shred it, actually I throw it through the chipper twice, it makes for a really good type of mulch if you wanted to use it for a mulch, but it's been kind of composting away there on its own. So one thing about the backyard is I take good care of it, but not as much as I do the front. There's good grass back here, but I have some plans this year to do a little renovation and try to make it better. And one of the things that's one of the issues I have is it's very bumpy, very rough. So I want to try and work on that. As you can see here, we have this line of pines here, which is the lot line. And this winter sometime, 6 of those trees are coming out because they're gone, they're dead. Obviously those 2 right here, you can see the bark's been falling off it for a while. Actually, most of the bark is off. So they're coming out, and there's, like I said, there's 4 more besides those 2 that are coming out. For some reason, the trees on this line are they're struggling, and we had, maybe about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, we had about 4 of them taken down up by the garage more. Same thing, they just die. Either there's a disease, or when these trees were planted quite a while ago, way before we got here. We've been here now, this 2022 in May will be here 15 years. And these trees obviously were all here when we moved here. And according to the neighbor, they were planted, well obviously you can see they were planted way too close. Obviously sometimes people don't realize how big they're going to get and they put them way too close. But these trees on the north side of the lot are the ones that are struggling. The ones on the south side of the lot are doing just fine. So it could be something to do with the amount of sun they get. Like that one tree right there, you can see how it just moved itself, grew itself out further than the other ones. My tree guy says it did that. It was smart. It wanted to get away from kind of out from the rest to get more sun. So it's unfortunate, but I can't have. Well, these here, if these would have fallen, it wouldn't have been such a big deal. Only if it would have been if they would have fallen on the neighbor's tree there. But some of these other ones are closer to the neighbor's house, and if they would have fallen, they could hit his house, and that's not something we want to happen. So even though it costs a few bucks, we gotta get those taken out of here. Here's another one of those little black things I will tell you about in a future video. You know, and like I said, even though we're in the country, our neighbors are kind of close. We have wonderful neighbors, though. I'm very blessed with that. A little background on myself. I grew up on a dairy farm, actually not very far from here. Maybe as the crow flies, a mile. And we haven't farmed now for quite a few years. And me and my wife were very, very fortunate to find this house one day. We were on a dead-end road, so it's great that way. Only people up and down our road are people who live here for the most part. And sorry about the wind, it's a little bit breezy. As with anywhere, you know, with a house, it's sometimes hard to find what you like and the area you like. We got very lucky when we found this one for sale, and we got it. So, like I said, this May will have been here 15 years, and it's absolutely awesome. The quietness and the just being in the country. There's nothing like it. You know, what you see, the wildlife, the deer, the turkey, pheasants. Sometimes in the spring you'll hear them squawking. The cranes in the spring. You know, when you start hearing a crane, you know it's getting close to spring. When you hear a crane. In fact, this last year, 20 and 21, I think it was end of February already, I heard one out in the back here, because we have woods and a marshy area way back there, so there's plenty of nesting areas for the cranes to be. So yeah, cranes, geese. You'll hear geese in the spring. Obviously geese are everywhere, but in the springtime when they start mating and squawking. So yeah, you name it. The birds, we love to feed the birds. I just put out some seed. Now that we got snow on the ground, the birds are looking to eat. So I hope you liked the video. Like I said, I wish it was a little bit brighter out. I wish the sun was out today, but it was out earlier this morning. It was very nice. And I would have been out this morning, but it was like about 0 this morning, and I didn't want to be outside, and I had some stuff to do inside. So there's a lot of things I plan on doing. Hopefully you'll enjoy. Like I said, I'm a DIYer. I'm not an expert on anything. But there's a lot of things I do, I think work well, and I'd like to share it with everybody. You know, we all have our own ways of doing things that works for us, and that's great. You know, I think lawn care, I think there's a lot of different roads we can take to get the desired result that we really want. So I'm just here to tell you about what I do and show you what I do. Like I said, I grew up on a farm, but it doesn't mean I know everything. I'll tell you, I know fertilizing, but there's more to it than just throwing fertilizer down on your lawn. Sure, it'll look good for a while, but it's all about the base, to quote a song. So you know, the soil. It's all about the soil too. And I'll show you what I do. I got some projects as far as some equipment I bought that I'd like to show you in the spring once we get going and things get warmer, like cleaning up. You know, obviously with pine trees, I got a boatload of pine cones. They're the biggest problem I have. I have a piece of equipment I bought last year that I used in the spring, and being on the road here, there's some gravel on the side. I'll show you. Last year they put a newer gravel shoulder. It's the cold. And so when the plows came through, so this, my part of this lot ends kind of here at the top of this little hill. So when the plows came through, and I do, like we all do here on the road, we take care of even what's not ours, what belongs to the township. But the plows would throw a lot of gravel in there, and you almost couldn't cut through that. I mean, I didn't want to. Bad enough I hit sticks and stuff at times because of the trees and pine cones. But I bought a nice little tool that I was worried it wouldn't work, and maybe I'll show you that. And come to find out, it worked fantastically for the stones, and it works very, very well for pine cones. It's not 100% perfect, but it's way better than raking. Raking pine cones is an absolute nightmare, I think. It takes forever, and it's like you don't hardly get anywhere. This tool works really well, and like I said, it's not 100%, but I would say it's like 90%. It will get the pine cones out of the grass pretty well. So, yeah. And there's a lot of other things we do. My wife does, especially in the spring with planting. She loves planting flowers in her boxes and pots. Everything looks fantastic once things are growing really nice in the spring. It's always amazing to think that when you see this, that it can go the total opposite and look so nice once things are growing and starting to bloom, the early bloomers in the spring. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you subscribe, because I will try and do more videos. Like I said, I'm just a DIYer like a lot of you, and in fact I have to give props to the ones who have inspired me to make a video and make videos. Obviously Alan Hain, the Lawn Care Nut, and there's others. And there's some other even guys who run lawn businesses. I've really enjoyed watching their videos. Brian's Lawn Maintenance, CGI, or I should say GCI, Pete, down there in North Carolina. I love watching his videos. Like I said, I think lawn care, depending on where you want to take your lawn, it can be very simple. There's I'll get into that, what I think some of the just minor things you can do, small things you can do to make your lawn look better. I mean, even if you're not a person who wants to go out there and put a whole lot of time or money, and that's fine. We all have our degree of what we're looking for, the results we're looking for. So I think, to get a very decent look to your lawn doesn't take much. Just a little bit of adjusting on your lawnmower and stuff like that. It can be pretty simple to do. So thank you for watching. I'd like to wish, once again, if I didn't do it at the beginning of the video, I wish everybody a Happy New Year. And I will try and get another video out again before we get into spring, and see if there's something of interest I can do in this time of year, because obviously you can see it's pretty gloomy and cold and snowy. So being in Wisconsin, there's not much to do, and I know you cool season lawn people know what this is like. If you're a warm season person, and I'll say this, my videos are going to be more on obviously going to be about the cool season grass and cool season lawns, because that's where I live. But if you're a warm season person and you're watching this, I know you're enjoying it, because wherever you're at, you're nowhere near as cold as we are, and you probably don't have to deal with the snow we deal with. So, and that's fine. It's where we live, and it's some people enjoy it, some don't. That's why you live in the South, and that's why we live in the North. And I'll admit, as you get older, you don't care much for the cold and snow as much as you did when you were in your teens and 20s maybe. So at that, thank you for watching, and I appreciate it if you would subscribe. Thank you very much.